Okay, I'd like to start the meeting. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and Verizon Files 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and any other agenda items. Thank you.
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that the act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of this individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Thank you, Mr. Wydell. Roll call, please.
D'Antuno.
Here.
Giordano.
Here.
Jodry.
Here.
Francisco.
Here.
Lent. Marquetta.
Here.
Mazzone.
Here.
Slade.
Here.
Solokowski.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everybody please rise for the pledge? Thank you. It's awfully loud. Okay, next week, who would like to do the Code of Ethics? Okay, Marge, it's all yours. Okay, student representative? Anything to say? No? Okay, but we would like to recognize you tonight.
Yeah, we're going to do it during...
You want to do it during the recognition?
During superintendent's report.
Okay. Okay, we have a lot of recognition tonight. Mr. Citadino, can I get you over to the podium, please? Marge?
Thank you, Mr. President. So welcome everyone here at the board meeting this evening. As is tradition, I'm carrying on with the June is Aloha season. So the Aloha shirts will be in season throughout June. Recognition, one of our favorite parts of these meetings. And on the first one, we're going to move the board to recognize Lakshaya Venkatasan. She is a 7th grader at Carl Sandburg Middle School. She was selected as the middle school winner for Congressman Frank Pallone's poetry contest. Lakshaya's poem titled Inclusion, Let It Be, won the civic engagement category. Lakshaya, would you do us the honor of reading the poem? Sure. Oh, you do have it. Why wouldn't you? I also have your speech for you, your poem for you if you needed it.
Inclusion, inclusion, inclusion. Let it be the needle and thread to weave a pattern of diversity. Let it be the cherry on top of our character cream. Let it sow the seeds to strong friendships. Let it create the trust of holding someone's hand. Let it sound like a harmony that echoes each sound. Let it shine like a moon in our darkest hours. Let it give the warmth of sunlight to the bitter cold of challenge. Let it seal like a bandage to cure our hurtful damage. Let it support our fragile hearts like an unbreakable spine. Let it sculpture our acceptance and our perceptions. Let it write like a pen that doesn't hesitate to paper our thoughts. Let it destroy the divisions of each and every one of our personalities. Let it celebrate the culture we are vehement about to follow and share. Let it taste like delight for a continuation of unity and movement. Let it paint the shades of gray in the options of black and white. Let it stain the permanence of its impact and rights for us all to know that in a world full of murmuring whispers, constant hurt, and intersecting differences, we can let one thing be inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshaya. I'm going to present you with the certificate from the Board of Education, and I'd like to have your Vice Principal, Mr. Tim Gofford, join you on the stage for a picture with a board member and myself. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Marge? Center. Very good. Okay, number 2. Ms. Mazzone. I'm sorry, Ms. Elena.
Isabella, can you join us up here? Move the board to recognize Isabella Zaccario. She's an 8th grader at Carl Sandburg Middle School for her selection as the middle school winner of the New Jersey ASBO 13th Annual Student Artwork Exhibit. I will allow you to show at the audience your artwork, because they'll think I'm biased because of how you won. I wasn't in the selection process, but you could show it to the audience.
Very nice. Can we get the 3 of you up here for a picture?
Go up there for a picture.
Mrs. Citadino? Elena?
Before we do the picture,
Okay, go ahead.
I do have something else to read from the New Jersey ASBO. The New Jersey Association of School Business Administrators celebrated its 62nd annual conference with the school business administrators and leaders attending at the state on June 5th through June 7th. The New Jersey ASBO has been proud to feature artwork from our talented New Jersey students during the conference. The Spring 2024 conference marks the 13th annual student artwork exhibit, in which the artwork is displayed for members to view and appreciate the fine work that's performed by our students. All attendees have the opportunity to vote on the student artwork, with a winner announced at the final session on Friday, June 7th. Mr. Whitell, just approximation, how many people attend that conference?
Well, there's about 500 plus districts in the state, so you have at least 500 business administrators attending, really.
So I would say probably close to 700 people had the opportunity to vote. And out of that, this year, we would like to congratulate our own Isabella Zaccario. They, for 8th grade, as the Sandburg Middle School was selected with its winning artist for the middle school division with that beautiful piece of artwork, which is a great-looking Labrador Retriever, if I may say so myself. We have a gift card for you from Amazon, from the Organization of School Business Administrators. And the last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our own here, Board of Education. Please acknowledge that for the past 13 years, Old Bridge's own CJ, Carol Lee Johnson, has been working to coordinate the artwork submissions at the New Jersey ASBO conference from around the state. So we'd like to recognize Ms. Johnson for her commitment to New Jersey ASBO, but more importantly, her commitment to recognizing student achievements.
Come on. One more. Okay, we're on recognition number 3. Mr. Citadino's at the podium. Can I get, let me see.
At this time, can I have our athletic director, Mr. Dan Domino, please join me at the dais.
Any order, but any order.
All right. So I wanted to just start off in congratulating all the spring sport athletes and families on an incredible season. Being able to successfully balance athletics and academics takes hard work, organization, and dedication. All these attributes will assist our student athletes in their future endeavors, and I'm incredibly proud to watch our athletes grow and develop while being part of our teams. Tonight, I'd like to introduce and celebrate 4 athletic programs that are here, winning either their division, conference championship, sectional championship, or state championship. First up, we have our girls lacrosse team. Here to accept the award is Coach Kajewski and the girls varsity team. Congratulations on winning the red division and conference championships.
Girls, form, some of you kneel down.
They just keep coming.
All right. Next up, we have our varsity baseball team. Here to accept the award is Coach Donahue and the varsity team. Congratulations on winning the GMC Conference Championship. All right, next up, we have our girls golf team. Here to accept the award is Coach Allspack and Coach Wasserman. And the varsity girls team. Congratulations on winning the White Division Championship. First time in school history. Last but not least is our boys varsity volleyball team. Before I call up the coaches and the team, I just want to congratulate them on winning the Red Division Championship, Conference Championship, Group 4 State Sectional Championship, and overall Group 4 State Championship. Also undefeated for the first time in school history. An incredible, incredible season. Here to accept the awards, we have Coach Hopman here, we have Coach Coop, we have Coach Latch, and we have Coach Buwani, Francis Buwani, and the varsity volleyball team. Come on up to accept the award. Congratulations again to all spring sports. Incredible, incredible season.
Very good. Okay, recognition number 4. Sal, go ahead. That's the principals are going to get up. But it's yours, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, they give them something to do.
Picture taken. All right, we'll get started. Good evening.
Okay, we'll wait a couple of seconds until the crowd leaves, okay? I see. Okay, Dr. Hooker.
Good evening. Old Bridge schools have been recognized for more than 50 promising practices. Tonight we have 2 honorees. I'd like Dr. Payton to come on up to the podium. Dr. Giles of Miller School, Miller Mathematics is the promising practice, was not able to be here tonight, but I have a statement to read for her. This is a little bit of a tongue twister. Miller's Magnificent Mathematicians was initiated to ignite interest in the areas of math that foster success. A defeatist mindset regarding mathematics frequently arises from exasperation caused by the repetitive nature of computational and algorithmic tasks. A more positive relationship results for students when students are encouraged to think about relationships and patterns in their studies. Taught thoughtfully, math engenders critical thinking, logical reasoning, and higher cognition skills. This program focuses on students that encompass the mathematical practices. The standards of perseverance, reasoning, discussion, modeling, strategizing, precision, structure, and use of patterns were the guiding principles. One student is chosen from each math class, nominated by their teacher. 104 students have been awarded in our first year. Each honoree is presented with a certificate and a small prize to commemorate the achievement. Then a group picture is taken with the principal, Dr. Giles. The response from the students, staff, and parents has been overwhelmingly supportive and enthusiastic. Miller School looks forward to continuing the program again next year. They've completed a rigorous application and were honored by character.org. I'm going to ask Dr. Payton to share his promising practice.
I did bring some photos just to depict our promising practice to my immediate right. Good evening, Board President and fellow board members. The Building Bridges program at Memorial Elementary School was inspired by a promising practice principle number 3. It is a multi-phase initiative aimed at revitalizing the district's existing character education program. The school's present character education program is centralized around the following 6 key pillars: caring, citizenship, responsibility, respect, trustworthiness, and fairness. Throughout the 23-24 school year, students participated in monthly tailored lessons and activities led by teachers and the guidance staff. These lessons were carefully designed to foster connections among learners, promote character growth, and nurture a sense of community and embrace diversity and acceptance. These practices included classroom lessons using restorative circles focused on community building, empathy, self-reflection, strengthening relationships, and equity. Through these classroom lessons, students deepened their understandings of the 6 core values. Grades 3 through 5, students were paired with K-2 as character buddies to serve as mentors, encouraging positive behavior, modeling social skills, and reinforcing character traits. The program culminated in a collaborative STEM project where the older students worked with the younger peers to create various work products using STEM materials like Legos, engineering sticks, magnetic tiles, and other manipulatives. These challenges were crafted and required students to apply various lessons learned earlier in the program, such as how to effectively and skillfully navigate obstacles that arose. After completing the STEM projects, students reflected on their experiences and learning, where older students were writing reflections and younger students were illustrating their responses in their character journals. At the end of the school year, these journals will serve as a keepsake for students, symbolizing the character education journey they embarked on this school year. I would like to publicly acknowledge the memorial team, our character education team from within the building, and certainly our esteemed guidance counselor to my immediate right, Dr. Saltner. Thank you. Come on.
I'm all ready.
Okay, we're on recognition number 5 now. Sedadino?
That would be me.
Oh, it's still you.
I'm
Okay,
still here.
I'm sorry.
We are honored to recognize, I'm going to ask Mrs. Coletti, Lori Coletti from McDivitt School to come up to the podium. I'm honored to recognize Mrs. Coletti for the character education nomination for National School of Character. McDivitt School has been recertified as both state and national school of character. The McDivitt Character Ed team coordinated the process of, really a rigorous process of going through the application, submitting at the state level, and then again, moving on to the national level. They participated in a state visit, national visit, and have now been recognized and recertified, which is all of our schools have that recognition and go through every 5 years the process to maintain it. Lori, did you want to say anything?
Board President, board members, McDivitt community, and community of Old Bridge. I'd just like to say thank you from McDivitt. The team works really, really hard, and I'd like to recognize the teachers and the parents and the students and Madison. Everybody works very hard at trying to do all of the things that happen at school. We hear about so many unpleasant things, and when we come into school every day, we want to be with one another, we want to help one another, we want to be kind. And it's a wonderful place to be every day, and I have to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Okay, I flew over approval of minutes, but our attorney said it's okay because we're not going to worry about that this week, right?
We're going to motion for the recognition.
Yeah. Right. Okay, can I get a motion to move
Ms. Zoma,
recognition 1
motion
through
it.
5, please?
Francisco will second.
Roll call, please.
Slade,
Yes.
D'Antuno,
Congratulations to all the programs and thank you to all the staff that made this happen. Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Lent, Marquetta,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Solikowski.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 5 for recognition passes.
thank you. Superintendent's report? Do we have one?
We do have a special presentation today under Superintendent's Report. Next week under Superintendent's Report, we'll have the twice annual HAB report that has to go out. But today, I think we're going to start off with Ms. Jodry is doing a special presentation, then I think Ms. D'Antuno has one as well.
Okay, I'm very happy to present to Nesty a gift from the Board of Education. We are so grateful for your commitment and dedication, and also for your commitment and dedication to the students of Old Bridge. So thank you so much. Congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you. On top of thanking Nessie for her work this year, I'd like to thank the TV seniors, if they could come up for a second.
You want me to get behind the camera?
Nope, we're gonna put teacher. I was gonna say two just walked out before. Sure, we can, all right. To be continued later. All right, so, all right. You gotta hold for that part then. We'll come back to that. Thank you.
Okay, we'll put that part on hold. So progress towards goals, I wanted to update the board as part of our progress we've made towards our strategic plan. And that was, one of the things in there was re-engaging our students, especially students impacted by the pandemic, students who aren't necessarily the students who want to come to school or participate in academic events or athletic events or other extracurriculars. So one of the things that the ESSER grant allowed for was money to be used towards extraordinary ways of getting students engaged in school. We used that towards our learning labs, and an offshoot of our learning labs gave us the possibility to have the Esports program, something that opened up opportunities for students who normally may not be looking to be engaged in school, something that gives students great opportunities. So tonight I have one of our spearhead people, one of the coaches from the high school program, Robert Weiss the third, I think, correct? Third. And he's going to talk to us a little about the Esports program.
Esport coach should know that, right? So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share with the board and the community what Old Bridge Esports has been transforming into. Go ahead. So, while the first thing a lot of us think about with esports is video games and maybe not necessarily being educated related, there are in fact educational and professional opportunities in addition with 21st century skills that can be learned through esports. While this chart may seem a little bit overwhelming, you go ahead and click it. There is a reduced version, and these are skills that we have been working with our students to build. And it has, which I did want to put out, it has been recognized by the state level organization, Garden State Esports, as a standout program in the state. So we started back a couple of years ago, 2002, winter 2002 with Carl Sandberg, and there were close to about 100 interests. A lot of kids came out. We worked with them with content design, and we formed 2 Rocket League teams there. Surprisingly, we did fantastic. The middle school team took 3rd in the state their first year. Of that, go ahead, click, we had one student that was named All-Star, an All-State player in the middle school, and we got to compete at Kane University in person our first season. We spearheaded the second season in spring 2023 at Sandberg as well with Rocket League again. And content design, the Rocket League team, we up to 3 teams, and one of the teams took, again, 3rd in the state. They got to travel to Stockton University and play at Stockton University's facility. So a couple photos here. And then we move on to the fall 2023 season, which is the beginning of this year, where I would say we really kind of start catching our stride. Sandberg continues to operate with Rocket League and content teams while Salk is founded, and they do a great job right there at their school as well, with one player being named an all-state player in fall. At the high school, we started in fall 2023 as well, and we began creating our logos, which you could see on the screens. We became Twitch affiliates real quick, which is showing how fast our followers in the school, or kids in the school, were beginning to follow it. And we competed in 2 separate games at a varsity level. There are currently about 300 schools or organizations in the state of New Jersey competing in esports. Of these 2 teams, our Rocket League team and our Super Smash team finished top 8 in the entire state. Our content team had designed varsity logos. Next one, right there. So we have varsity jackets designed by the esport team and varsity letters specific to the esport team as well. We've taken class trips, field trips to universities such as Kane, so that way they can learn about the different opportunities at the college level that esports presents. There are scholarships, and it is becoming an actual undergrad major that students can attend. The winter season, again, growth again. Sandburg and Salk both competed in new games, and Sandburg actually made the state tournament with high school teams in one of the games known as Omega Strikers. Salk hosted in-school tournaments for Madden and NBA, getting the school population involved. And at the high school, our content team began to grow again, creating highlight videos, and we began commentating our stream, similar to sporting events where they have anchors. The high school in the winter began to break out at the state level as well, even more, not just for its team success, but for the programs that we were running with our content team in the stream. Our Street Fighter team took top 8 in the state, and our Overwatch team took 2nd in the state, losing at the state finals, playing in person at Brookdale Community College. We hosted a few in-person tournaments. The Overwatch team did win the one that we hosted. And we also did have, when we competed at Kane University, one of our high school players was the first one recognized to be an all-state first team all-state esport player, Randall Brown. And now we come to the spring as we kind of conclude our first full year of esports, and we watch it grow. Sandburg and Salk still continue to compete in Rocket League Smash with their content teams, making the playoffs in Sandburg in both Smash and Rocket League. And the high school, we continued to grow with a couple of things that I really would like to share with you. While our content team has moved on to full-time streaming, we also awarded our first scholarship to one of our students, Luca Dickinson, who is looking to be a tattoo artist. And with that scholarship, we're giving him an opportunity to find something their way. We introduced the Valkyrie team, which is a girls non-gender team. And we also introduced unified esports for our special education students. And then we have a couple photos of those as well. Spring 2024, our competition teams all made state rankings. Rocket League team, who did not place anything in the fall, came back and made a top 16. Super Smash Brothers, the co-ed team, took top 8. The girls team took top 4. And one of our Valorant teams got to compete down at Stockton University, taking 2nd in the state as well. One of the fun things that this team got to do this year is we actually began traveling and having in-person matches, just like regular sporting teams. So we traveled to New Brunswick High School and Long Branch High School, and Matawan High School came here to compete with us in person. And again, just a couple photos that I did want to show. It's hard to say. Good. Future summer this year, we are going to be competing down in Atlantic City with our Rocket League team, and we formed a Madden team by popular interest. And we're looking to next year introduce esports as an elective for our students as well. I actually have with me today, what I would really like you guys to hear, 2 of these esport athletes who would like to give you just a little bit of what they've experienced and what it's meant to them as well. First up, I'd like to introduce Alexis Libetti, who's a senior. She competed in varsity Street Fighter. She was our first Old Bridge High School varsity esport athlete female varsity esport athlete. And she is also, which I'm very proud to announce, beside being a pleasure to have on the team, she's the first official Old Bridge High School student to commit to playing esports in college. Alexa, go ahead.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the board for supporting the program because it's been a real pleasure to be on. I find that in a space where women really don't have much of an opportunity to shine, I felt very comfortable on the team, and I found that throughout the season, as it's gone on, esports has become like my safe space in essence. I used to be super excited to come down to practice and play games and be on the team, and I just really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Alexis. And second, our button clicker over here, Josh Prajapati, another senior. I call him the president. He's the representative for the eSport team anytime we have a club meeting in the school. He is the first 3 varsity winner for eSports. He competed in varsity games in the fall, winter, and spring. He was offered a scholarship, I heard, for eSports as well, but it was not from the schools he was looking to go to, unfortunately. He has talked about going to play at Rutgers potentially next year, and he is by far and away the role model for this program. So, Josh Prajapati.
Once again, I would just like to thank everyone for their support. The program would not have been where it is today without all of your support. This program has had such a huge impact on my social life. I love to go to school every day, just to come to school, to play with our team, and to compete with my members. And I'm really excited to see what we're going to have in the next few years.
So just to end, I just wanted to thank everyone for their continued support, and for anyone who is interested in the school district, because I do hear parents come up and say they had no idea that there was an eSport program. Feel free to email me, Sandberg, Salk, or the high school. I can direct you where to find the coaches and how to get your students involved. In addition, I do have one email that I'd like to end with that came in from a parent this year that kind of talks what Mr. Cetadino and my two athletes were saying. And this came from a parent from another student. And they wrote, "Very short, thank you so much for starting this program and supporting our kids. It gives them a place where they feel welcomed. It has truly transformed the way my child looks at school and helped them find a group of kids that are like them and not so isolated. Thank you again, and I look forward to helping providing a home for our students in the future."
Thank you, very well put.
Thank you. Just in addition to that, so if you think the name sounds familiar, Robert Weiss III, Robert Weiss Jr., was a captain with the police department, decorated Marine Corps, and I consider a good friend of mine. But when the tragedies first happened at Sandy Hook and then at Parkland, Captain Weiss was the person who worked with me to put our security system in place and to go out and recruit SLEO officers to really have a model program that we have real armed officers at our schools. And we stay in touch, and one of the things that he's very big with right now is working with Veterans of Foreign Affairs, and that's why I talked about his role with the Marine Corps. I actually went to his Marine Corps retirement in D.C. That's how, of a special soldier that I think he is. And so one of the things we're talking about doing now, and we were actually texting today before his son was presenting, I wanted him to come up and maybe just talk about the possibilities of, we have a lot of veterans who are looking and facing PTSD, and one of the things that they're showing is that participating in esports is helping them not only reduce the effect of PTSD, but actually, like it's doing for our students, taking them and putting them in a social context that they're not having at home. Many of them are living in isolation and afraid to come out and speak to people, but this gives them an opportunity to do so. So we're looking about having an opportunity for these veterans to use our facility maybe 1-2 nights a month to help them and pay them back for what they've done for our country.
Thank you, Mr. Senator.
Can I go back?
We can go back
TV?
to the, I think all the
All
seniors
the
are here
seniors
now.
All right. So if I can call the TV seniors back up. Jay, Marjorie, can you help me hand out the bags? Can you help me hand out the bags? I know for these 5 seniors, it's been Ellis, Bella, Olivia, Lola, and Bryce. Come on stage. You guys are always behind the camera. Some of these meetings have gone very late. Some have been meetings full of conflict, and I know it's not always easy to be behind the camera without having a reaction. So I thank you for your professionalism and for your dedication to getting the message out of these meetings to the community. So from the board, we have little gift bags for you to thank you for your hard work this past year. All right, get together for a picture. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any special committee reports? No? Hearing of residents, agenda items only. Hearing of residents on agenda items only. Thank you.
Andrew Lewis, OBEA. I want to address the rehire list on tonight's agenda and remarks made by Mr. Solikowski at the budget meeting earlier this month. At the conclusion of that meeting, Mr. Solikowski, you said, quote, "All the programs are here, and all you people, nobody lost their job," end quote. 2 days later, 5 teaching staff members lost their jobs. 1 from each middle school and 3 from our elementary schools. Are these 5 teaching staff positions cut due to the budget, or are they non-renewals disguised as budget cuts? I think I know the answer. Based on the fact that since February, you've approved the hiring of 4 other elementary teachers. How was such a misstatement spoken at a public meeting? Was the board not informed that these 5 teachers were being cut despite the budget passing? Regardless, I believe these staff members are owed an apology by the board. If they watched the budget meeting, they heard that the president tell them they weren't going to lose their job, only to be told the opposite a few days later. We need transparency and accountability. In the time of a teacher shortage, why are these 5 positions being cut? This decision is a slap in the face of the hardworking educators whom you employ. With these decisions, and a return to the negotiations table next week, we can't allow our members to be treated as mere budgetary figures. They're the lifeblood of our schools, and their value cannot be measured in dollars and cents. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing of residents on agenda items only. No one? Okay, policy. We'll do that next week. Okay, curriculum, professional development.
D'Antino will move.
Can I get a second?
Joe second.
1 through 5. Can I get a second, please?
It was Jodry.
Any discussion, please? Roll call, please.
Marqueta.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
D'Antuno.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Lent. And Solikowski.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 5 for curriculum professional development passes.
thank you. Okay, any discussion on 6 through 10, please? No? Okay. Finance.
Oh, wait, hold on. I do have one quick question. So,
Go ahead.
number 8 for the LIEP bilingual ELL program 3-year plan. Is that part of the attachments that we get, just so we can see what that looks like? Because I didn't see it anywhere, so I don't know. 3-year plan, but I don't
Usually,
know what it is.
it actually says in the motion that it's on file in the board office, but I'm sure we can get a copy of
Okay.
it.
Okay, finance. 1 and 2 we're going to vote on tonight. Can I get a motion to move 1 and 2?
Mazzone motion.
Any discussion? I need a second, please.
Joe second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lent. Marqueta.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
D'Antuno.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Solikowski.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for finance passes.
Okay, on finance 3 through 24, any discussion on that? Okay. Athletics. Any discussion? No? Non-certified personnel office, 1 through 4. Any discussion? No? Non-certified personnel operational 1 and 2. Any discussion? Non-certified personnel other 1 through 12. Any discussion? Okay. Certified personnel, we have some items, 3 items to vote on. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Any discussion on that?
Giordano make the motion.
D'Antino will move.
Giordano second.
I thought you did it. You did first, right? Whatever.
I
All right.
think we both at the same time.
You second? I don't know. Okay, okay. Roll call, please.
It was D'Antuno and Giordano.
Yes.
Yes. Roll call, please.
This is certificated personnel, correct?
This is 1 through 3, right?
Yep. Okay. Slade,
Yes.
D'Antuno,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Lent, Marqueta,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Solikowski.
Yes,
Resolutions 1, 2, and 3 for certificated personnel passes.
thank you. Any discussion on 4 through 24?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Just really quick, on number 8, when it says, where it says, move the board to authorize the superintendent of schools, David Cittadino, to tender offers of employment. Do we still, over the summer, if we're hiring people, obviously, for positions that need to be filled, do we still get a report of who?
Yeah, so what I'll do is offer them a letter of intent to hire, and then in August you'll catch up. But if I need to hire somebody in July.
Right.
Because there's a position and, maybe it's a competitive position we can't get somebody for, then I'd be able to do that in July, and then the information is still shared with you, and then you officially recognize it in August.
Got it. Also, just to clarify for my own mind, Dr. Holker, you do the hiring, but ultimately you have to approve everything. Right? Okay, I was just double checking. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, non-certified personnel transportation 1, 2, and 3. Any discussion? Transportation 1, 2, and 3. Any discussion? Supplies, equipment, and services 1. Okay, action item on number 1. Any discussion?
Giordano motion.
Ms. Owen will second.
Roll call, please.
Marqueta,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
D'Antuno,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Solikowski.
Yes,
Resolution 1 for supplies, equipment, and services passes.
thank you. Any discussion on 2 through 5? I'm sorry, I didn't see the next page. Okay, 2 through 11. Any discussion? No? Miscellaneous, 1 through 13. Any discussion? Okay, make sure everyone is clear on the number 1, I believe, the dates, the changes of the dates. So the agenda meeting is August 20th, and the regular meeting is on the 27th. Okay, miscellaneous, 1 through, we did that. Okay, Board Secretary. Number 1, any discussion? None? Thank you. Okay, hearing of residents on any school district item, anything to do with the school district.
You can hear me, right? Okay. All right, yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Alexandra Rudaya. I'm a resident here of Old Bridge and also a rising senior at Old Bridge High School. I wanted to start off the night by thanking the board members for protecting the children and families of Old Bridge. It's been a little hectic, I'll just say that. I'm not going to go into specific details, but you guys still persevered, and you always did your best to make sure that the families of Old Bridge and students and also the faculty to do what they love to do. Now, I'm not being controversial here, I promise you on that, but I do want to bring up a little bit of a special topic. As a rising senior, there's always something to look forward to. Homecoming, dinner cruise, and especially probably one of my most exciting events would be the Costa Rica Study Abroad program, proudly by Ms. Keeler here. But I won't be able to share those with our seniors and to those who are graduating. I was very fortunate to actually work with our senior crew right behind the camera, who are probably one of the most hardworking, dedicated, and probably the most caring people that I've known. And through the moments and memories that I've made with them through the TV, I just wanted to thank you guys for everything, because you guys will always have a special place in my heart. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of that program for this year. And along with the senior crew as well, I've had the opportunity to be also close with the seniors who have given me something unique to learn, which was the courage to show pride and speak up because you're not alone. Having people to cheer you on behind your back because, times can get hard. Communicating and building new friendships along the way. And probably the most important thing, they've given me a pathway to what life is about and what friendships are about, because that's what keeps you together. And I'm so grateful for what the seniors have provided for me this year, and I cannot be any more grateful. And not just with me, because it's not just about me today, but I did want to talk about how they've impacted our Old Bridge community. All of our seniors have become role models to our younger peers. They've actually shown their leadership through a program called Peer, which is basically they go to elementary and middle schoolers, and they also just go around the district and help out. They always have been a helping hand to our first day classes, which especially for our upcoming sophomores, they are a little confused sometimes on where to go, so they've always been a pleasure to help with. And most importantly, they've always brought the biggest school spirit to any event. And as a student here, I'm always about unity and how it brings everyone together. And they have made a humongous and tremendous impact on bringing everyone together, because even through rough times, even that can be in or outside of school, they've always came to support our wonderful athletes, showed at pep rallies, and of course support our other organizations, and proudly represent Old Bridge community, and I commend them for that. Now, before I round this off, I wanted to give a little bit of a piece of advice, if that's okay with you guys. Okay, perfect. I was waiting for that, hopefully. All right, to the class of 2024. College may seem a little scary. Being away from friends, family, even your own pets in this case, who of course we all love, may seem a little uneasy. But at the end of the day, we'll all be okay. Because if you look on the bright side, there is a future that holds ahead of you with fulfilling adventures. You know that your closest friends will be there to cheer you on and will always be your #1 supporters. And remember to always be bold and go out of your comfort zone, because you'll never know if you do not try. And I want to give one more final piece of advice, and I think that goes not just for you guys, but to everyone in here. To be your own self, and do not let anyone change for who you are, because that's who you want to be. I want to thank you for class of 2024 for everything, and I want to thank you for the board for listening.
Hello, my name is Ian Erickson Sr. I have 2 sons in high school and 1 son that's going to be starting kindergarten in the fall. It's like a nice big gap. I just want to address something that happened in one of the schools in the high school, the 9th grade center in particular. On Monday, June 10th, my son sent me a picture to my phone. It was a picture of a giant pride flag in the middle of the classroom. When my son came home, I asked him how he felt. He told me how uncomfortable he was and felt like a political agenda was being pushed on him. He felt that what the flag stood for were contrary to his own personal values. Why should my son have to feel uncomfortable because a teacher feels the need to make a political statement in class? And I know my son isn't the only child that felt awkward when it came to the flag hanging in the classroom. It took up half the wall. We shouldn't be dividing these kids into little segments. We should be unifying our kids as Americans. And the only flag that should hang in any classroom in Old Bridge is the American flag. That's how it was when I was in school and should have never changed. Flags that interfere with the educational process of other students just simply shouldn't be allowed. I asked the board to look into having only American flags in our classrooms. Classrooms shouldn't be a teacher's laboratory. to spread their own personal political views? What if a teacher wanted to hang flags associated with far right-wing movements? It's just not appropriate time or the place. A classroom, usually closed off to parents, is not the environment for a teacher to try and change a child's mind about the values the child holds. What is happening is indoctrination is being masked by inclusion. This pride flag made my son feel just as uncomfortable as a non-Christian student would feel if a teacher hung the Vatican flag. Again, we should not segment our children, but unify them. And I believe to avoid these issues in the future, only the American flag should be hung in classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I didn't know he was going to say that. That's not why I'm up here. Everyone's expecting me. If you do adopt a code like, I'm Scott Mazzella,
Your
I'm the
name,
Public
please.
Relations Coordinator for Old Bridge Township Public Schools and a Social Studies teacher at Sauk. And if you do regulate flag use in the district, I have about 13 different flags in my classroom that I don't know how we define what an American flag is versus an historic flag, or what a political flag is versus a cultural flag. But that's for you guys to decide, not me. That's not why I'm up here. I'm actually up here because I wanted to congratulate Mr. Cittadino on becoming the new president of the Middlesex County Association of School Administrators, giving us another reason to be proud of him and to be Old Bridge proud, and glad he's our leader. So let's give him a round of applause for that. Okay. Secondly, I want to thank Andrew Borriello for our new logo. I don't know if you guys could show this. Anyone else sick of looking at that old sticker up there that was tattered? So I asked Andrew, I said, can you do something there? And he had it in, less than 24 hours. We got a logo on here, and it looks great, doesn't it? So thank you, Andrew, and everyone in the woodshop who made that happen. And finally, I want to thank the board members who have been showing up to events, and you guys have been posting on social media. I mean, some of you have been doing that for a couple years, of course. It helps me at the Bridge to do that and to share that. It helps you learn about all the good stuff happening in the school district. So I encourage you to keep doing it. If you haven't done it yet, get out there with your phones and start posting away. Show them what we're doing here. We're doing great stuff, no matter what our flags are. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any old business? New business?
I have something. Okay. Speaking about Old Bridge Proud, I wanted to just address, on June 3rd, we voted 8-1 to increase the tax levy to 9.9% for 1 year. And as I mentioned in the meeting of May 7th, we were faced with just two bad choices. In the end, the Old Bridge Board of Education, as the Old Bridge Board of Education, it was our duty to vote based on what is best for our students, schools, and community. The information we received from the public indicated that they overwhelmingly supported the 1 year increase to 9.9%. During last week's council meeting, certain questions were raised, and for the people who were in attendance and the people who watched from home and who watched the recording, I wanted to provide some important clarifying information. So there's 10 questions or statements, but some are grouped together because they're of the same topic. So the first one is, quote, the Board of Ed voted to raise your taxes 9.9%. Really, I think about it, it's 10. So, end quote. The board voted to raise taxes for 1 year as established in Bills A4161 and S3081 to offset huge deficits that would have severely cut programs for all students. Some of those cuts would have been half-day kindergarten, high school students dismissed at 12:30, cutting mandatory programs like vocational arts, electives, clubs, and having only varsity sports. It would have also meant non-mandatory transportation cuts and considerable teacher layoffs. We understood that even with increasing the tax levy to the maximum of 9.9% for 1 year, there would still be some increased class sizes, transportation cuts, reduction in staff, etc. The 2% tax levy, though, I just wanted to explain, is mandatory for S2 districts like ours in order to keep up with increasing costs. It actually equates to 2.9%, 9.7%, 2.97%, including health insurance costs. So the net tax levy for us for 1 year is just under 7%, because the 2% is mandatory. The next three questions are grouped together because they're the same topic. So quote, this problem has been going back, they're questions or statements. Quote, this problem has been going back since 2018, and it has not been addressed at the level that it should have been at the state. The leader of the school should have gone to the state, and that is what is upset. There should have been more discussion, and there wasn't, end quote. The second statement is, but from 2018, when this was going on, 6 years later, and year after year, it still hasn't been addressed with the right place, end quote. Quote, when we make a decision, we have to make it for the entire town, not a segment of the town. So I think that people have to look long and hard as far as the leadership. Did they go to the state? Did they have a conversation? I would have, in that situation, gone to Trenton. So I reached out to our business administrator, David Waddell, and our superintendent, Dave Cittadino, and I got the following information. Throughout the 7 years of S2, members of the admin team and Superintendent Cittadino communicated daily with the Middlesex County Association of School Administrators, who have ties within the legislative community in an effort to monitor legislation proposals and limit the impact of the deficit. And then I have some specific dates. On March 3rd, 2019, Superintendent Cittadino went to Trenton with Business Administrator Mara to meet with legislators regarding the impact of the S2 budget cuts. On September 24th, 2022, Superintendent Cittadino called Senator Gopal to talk about S2 and advocate for Old Bridge. On April 17, 2023, he participated in a Zoom call with Senator Gopal and the other superintendents also adversely affected by S2. On February 6, 2024, he participated in a joint committee with those superintendents, Senator Zwicker and Senator Gopal. That meeting generated 36 emails between participants to continue addressing the S2 flawed and unfair school funding formula. On March 1st, 2024, at the request of Senator Henry, Superintendent Cittadino submitted a statement of impact of the school funding formula and the effect it would have on students and schools in Old Bridge. On March 8th, 2024, Superintendent Cittadino and Andrew Lewis of the OBA released a joint statement expressing their deep concerns and disappointment regarding the announcement of projected state aid cutting $12 million for the 24-25 school year. On 3/25/24, Mr. Cittadino met S2 affected district leaders in Jackson, New Jersey to address the school funding formula. Also on 3/25/24, Superintendent Cittadino, Business Administrator Waddell, OBA President Andrew Lewis, BOE President Matt Zulikowski, BOE VP Jen Dantuno, also met with Senator Henry personally to discuss the dire impact of S2 on Old Bridge schools. On 3/26/24, Superintendent Cittadino held another Zoom call with Senator Gopal to advocate for Old Bridge. Our district is one of the many districts who have seen cuts. Ultimately, the only organization that had final authority to make a change was our legislators. Districts have been going to Trenton for years, since the start of S2, to ask for a new funding formula. There have been Band-Aids over the last few years to address it, but in 2024, 2025, this is the year that the bubble truly was going to burst. The fifth question is, quote, why is it when the township raises the bill, which we have to do because the cost of insurance, the cost of gas, police protection, everything's going up, everyone goes in an uproar, but 9.9%, you're cheering, I don't understand it, end quote. So similarly, the district must pay for many of the same rising costs associated with our schools: police officers, school security, program costs, school buses and gas, mental health counselors, the rising cost of insurance, and repair and maintenance of our school buildings to ensure the safety and well-being of our students. Through emails to the board and statements made during the public hearing, the public overwhelmingly advocated for raising the tax levy for 1 year instead of making drastic cuts or allowing the state to arbitrarily make cuts without knowing the needs of our students. Question 6. I want to know also, were there budget books given to each member of the Board of Education? How many subcommittee meetings were had? Was the line-by-line budget given to board members? Yes, we were provided with line-by-line documents, including documents entitled Revenues and Appropriations, line by line, and subsequent documents provided were 24-25 initial budget presentation, 24-25 proposed budget, 24-25 proposed revised budget. We were also provided with historical tax levy docs. All budget presentations going back to 2008 can be found on the district website. If you go to the menu tab, business office, and then user-friendly budgets, you can find them. How many subcommittee meetings were there? there is a weekly admin meeting, and since January, there have been 3 committee of the whole finance committee meetings. Each year during the 7 years of the S2 budget cuts, the finance committee has held multiple meetings every year to make difficult decisions based on budgetary constraints. We're coming down the home stretch. Quote, what do they do with the $500 that they get every year from renting Cheesequake out? Do we know? We don't know. So the bottom line is, what happened with the COVID money? We don't know. So these are the discussions that I've never heard from listening to the BOE. Were these things discussed? Were they made available to everybody? And that's the reason I'm bringing these up, is because there may be many people sitting at home and who are listening who don't know the answers either and are confused. The funds received from leasing Cheesequake School goes directly back into the operational budget. For the past 3 years, ESSER money has funded summer programs, supplies, funded mental health clinicians, substitute salaries, and mitigated S2 shortages by using ESSER funding. ESSER expired this past year. And again, you can go back to the district website and see all the current and past budget presentations. 9, maybe a presentation here. They could come in front of the council and explain why they raised the taxes 9.9%. So again, it was the net of a little below 7% that the taxes are being raised. But at the request of the Old Bridge Board of Education Vice President, Ms. D'Antuno, our business administrator extended an invitation to the town council to meet with the Board of Ed through Township Clerk Catherine Hutchinson on 326, and the offer still stands. So we'd love them to come and visit and talk to us. The last question was, quote, why these towns, why this town? Does anybody know why this town? What's the reason why, and why this town, end quote. So S2 for 24-25, there were 140 districts that lost state aid. This is the final year of the school funding reform legislation known as S2. Old Bridge is facing this final year of S2, meaning that as per the funding formula, there should not be any equalization aid cuts to state aid for next year, 25-26. However, because the state's funding formula is proprietary and not shared, we could never accurately predict the state aid numbers moving forward. The S2 cuts are based upon a formula protected from public view and the following indicators. The first indicator is student enrollment, and I believe Superintendent Cittadino also went over this at one point, and our student enrollment has been relatively flat, so that really didn't have anything to do with it. Home value sales, and that's not assessed values, it's home sale values. The town has not been reassessed in multiple decades. For example, my own home currently has a value of about $650,000 based on recent comparable sales. But since I moved to Old Bridge in 1998, my home has always been assessed at $160,200 even until today. Homes that are currently valued at about $1 million are still assessed at about $350,000. Based on the assessment value, not fair market value, the state expects districts to make up the difference for that. They expect school districts to make up the difference. And then the third indicator is the residential income. Residential income has also gone up over the past several decades. The state knows exactly what we all make because we file income taxes each year. The state says that because home values have gone up and incomes have risen, but the town has not undergone a reassessment in several decades, the town should be contributing more to our schools. The district is limited to 2% in taxes, but that is based on the outdated home values and resident numbers from past decades. The state has determined that we are below adequacy by $20 million, and therefore the town should be contributing $20 million more to the school district. This means that we have lost about 48% of state aid because of this. Until the town undergoes a formal reassessment, the state may very well continue to hold the students and schools in Old Bridge hostage to make up for the difference in our local fair share, whether the S2 cuts end this year or not. We may be held accountable for that. So that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Old business, new business?
Yes. I just want to say in general, for any issue, it is recommended to go through the teacher, then the principal, central administration, then the Board of Education, commonly known as the chain of command. I would highly recommend that to any parents or any students, actually, that are active and have any questions or concerns in the classroom settings. And see you at graduation, seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Since in the past month, it's really been a showcase to all of us of like what makes Old Bridge amazing. I myself have been able to attend quite a few events. I know I've missed some, but I want to thank the community for the invitation, and I was proud to be part of visiting the Challenge Showcase, either as a parent or as a board member. The Challenge Showcase, the Spring Sports Recognition, the Woodshop Classroom, the Jewish Student Union ended up with a last minute invite, inviting me to make challah bread, which my kid has then went home and made more, so that's been great. Attended both preschool graduations, both middle school graduations. Thanked the OBA for their ice cream social. Saw people from all over the district with that. Scholarship night was amazing with how the community pulled out for that. Memorial's Military Day was amazing. We even had a chopper fly in. It was great to welcome the juniors to their junior prom and attend McDivitt's Carnival, and definitely looking forward to graduation for you guys on Monday. So thank you for the invite, and it was an honor to be part of your community events.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'd like to piggyback on what Marjorie was talking about. Painfully, I watched the council meeting again before today's meeting because the prior week, maybe they were venting, they want to get some stuff off their chest, but then 2 weeks in a row, I think it's at least my duty to kind of defend ourselves or myself on the board. And some of the quotes that I took from the council meeting, which is a shame because it might sound like we're going tit for tat, but to see a wedge being created against two agencies that are working for the common community is kind of sad, especially when it's inaccurate. When I hear statements from one council member that it's only $23 a month, that's not true, as if what Mr. Wydell presented was a lie. That we're not being open and transparent. It's a lot of misinformation. We had a council member disappointed with the levels of education that we have compared to overseas, and maybe the remedy would be to stop funding the schools because we're not competing with international students. Another statement that the government is not good at educating our children. But one of the inaccuracies that was brought up was that the union should be taken out of the education system because they're not allowing teachers to come in early to teach our kids. I mean, I don't know if they're getting it out of the twilight zone, but I specifically know that my children have been addressed in the mornings after school. I even asked the board president, the union president, that it's not prohibited. I'm sure there's some contractual teachers that can't come in and want to get paid, but for the majority of the teachers, there's a passion out there to make sure that the kids are educated. So they can definitely come in early or stay late, just to make sure that if a kid needs to be educated, they're not going to leave them out in the cold. And then it leaves me for the long list that Marjorie talked about. But then there's another council member that said that they support that we should have made cuts, that it's a lesson learned. So if we would have had those cuts that council member would have mentioned, that recognition that we just had would have been filled with crickets. We wouldn't have had anybody to recognize next year because we would have had a lot of cuts. And I really am not too sure the lesson was learned. And a lot of arguments are going about the laws that were passed by the Senate. We're not responsible for the election that the Senate put what they're voting upon. We've got to be reactive to what they gave us. So they gave us an opportunity to raise the taxes. We took an opportunity instead of cutting programs, so we took it. It was them passing a bill. It was a 1-year raise. And then Marjorie talked about, the town raises taxes based on their expenses, but the school district doesn't have any expenses that are raised. I also take it personal because we sit at committees of the whole meeting till 10 o'clock at night. We're volunteers. We're taken away from our families. I'm sitting in a room till 10:30. We're beating each other up. We don't get paid for this. Councilmen get paid for what they do. So I don't want to go back and forth. I know an invitation went out that we should meet together. I would like to reinstate that invitation because we need to be on the same page. Creating a wedge against two agencies in the same district, I don't know what they're looking to accomplish. So that's it. So I just wanted to address that. So I'm hopefully that we're not going to go into a third week of them bashing the Board of Ed and the decisions that we made. We're not proud of it. We weren't excited about raising taxes, but we're definitely proud of saving the school district and the programs that we're proud of. So that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have just one little thing. I think, I didn't watch the council meeting, but I think where the anger and the resentment comes in was because there was another bill that was brought to the table that provided 100% back instead of the 45% back that the bill that we approved provides. And I think that the problem is that everything gets so political. Everything is just so far left, so far right, and it's because that bill was a Republican-backed bill. We had no chance of anything passing because of that word Republican put in front of it. And I think that's where the anger from the council comes from, because there was another bill, there was another option that would provide more money back than the one that we approved. And again, I didn't watch the meeting. I'm just speaking just from hearing things, and I think that's where their anger comes from.
But that anger could be directed at the Senate or the Assembly. The Board of Ed has no control over what bill is passed.
Right.
If the other bill passed first, then we'd be working with that bill. We have to deal with what we have. We can't wait to see, well, maybe something better will come along.
Right, but no one even fought for this bill, and I think that's where it stems from.
But Christina, I think also if you watch it, that you'll see it kind of puts us in a really bad light and presents things that really, all this information is easily accessible on either on the district website or watching the meetings or even attending committee meetings. All this information is accessible and it's been talked about over and over again, but the way it was presented is like nobody knows anything. We haven't provided any answers. We haven't provided any information, and that is simply not true.
No, I get it. I was just saying,
No,
I think that's where the anger comes from.
And again, as Jen said, and I agree, none of us are happy about raising taxes, but as Jen said, there are 9 senators up here that voted on a bill. We had to use what we had. So I understand their passion. Nobody wants to raise taxes. I get that, but what's the alternative?
Yeah.
It was just a tone
Yeah.
that we did something wrong.
If that's what it was, then it was misdirected.
Right.
Because we had nothing to do with that.
Right? I didn't vote for that. No, we don't have an opportunity to vote on that bill.
Right.
Anyone else? Thank you. We will be going into...
Wait, no, it's something to add. Yeah, I didn't get any emails from council or anyone about the budget in the last few weeks. So as a reminder, make sure to email me if you have any legitimate concerns. As it happens with the state, I went to 2,000 houses and left an email, and no one emailed me because most people don't care about real issues. They want to vent. So I don't consider venting any real discussion. If you have any legitimate concerns, you could email me. That's the only way that I will recognize any complaint. I don't go through the banter of what's been going on. Apparently, I didn't watch the meetings, but that's just what I see. So as a reminder, please email me with any concerns or questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giordano.
Sal, who
Go
decides
ahead.
what's legitimate? When you said legitimate concerns, what if somebody really feels something's legitimate, but it doesn't seem that way to you?
Oh, no, I was comparing because we've had a lot of meetings where people voice their concerns or social media, but there's a very few minority of people that actually email with concerns. I feel like if you're going to a meeting or anywhere on social media, you're doing it for your own attention, so.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about people emailing you with concerns that you deemed non-legitimate.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
No, no,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I mean, if it is legitimate, you would email me. I consider emails legitimate forms of communication, not yelling at a council meeting or social media. So please do that. Public, thank you.
Thank you for your wise words. Okay. We are going to be going into executive closed session, so that's the end of the meeting tonight.
Yeah, you need a motion for executive session.
Yes.
Marqueta moves. For
Ms. Owen
personnel and
seconds.
attorney-client
Right.
privilege.
Marqueta moved and Ms. Owen seconds.
Yeah, in a second? Okay. Thank you, folks.
All
Good
in
night.
favor?
We'll see everybody next Tuesday.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor.
Good night, folks.